updated the name of the stream.
I actually lost the match.
You want me to watch it?
I said I lost the match.
Ah.
The big dog.
Oh, thank you, Duolingo, for sponsoring, I guess. No, it's not even a sponsor. Subscriptions to earn. It's neat. Get rewards by purchasing and gifting subscriptions to 20 tips to the channel while they're in the live category. Okay. Very well. Hello, everyone. I am back. I should probably get context from that. Sorry for leaving abruptly in the previous stream yesterday. My brother contacted me, and it was fairly important, and it sounded urgent as well. And it was urgent, so I had to go. So, I'm back. Returned. October 3rd. I missed October 1st, because the mic did not arrive until the 2nd. So, hello. Okay. We have some stories. You might hear my girlfriend in the background. It depends. Say hi. Don't make me look. Don't make me sound like I'm schizophrenic. Say hun. Or say hi. She exists. You heard her here. You're a figment of my imagination. Then how are you talking to me? How's the microphone picking you up right now, though? I see. Modern trader is gonna get annoying. Hold on a minute. Let me just quickly farm this feather. There we go. Very well. Good job. Of course, we have stories from the librarian chick, or ready to the librarian chick, posted in our session of sleep 8 years ago. Very well. Why am I embarrassed to read these all of a sudden? Why am I? I don't think I've actually read in front of you, have I, hon?
Huh?
I don't think I've actually read in front of you, have I? Strange. I was fine doing this yesterday, and all of a sudden I'm just like, huh, cat's got my tongue. Why am I? Goodness. Oh well. Get to it. Oh, first, I got a Discord notification? From who? Mine. Ah, it's just an announcement for something. I see. Very well. Tell me, have you heard this story? Posted on our session of sleep 8 years ago. There's an old man that lives in the woods. I think that every child has at least one monster when they're all growing up. For me, and for many other children that lived in my town, it was the old man that lives in the woods. We thought of him in the same reverence as Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny. We did not question his existence nor need to know where it came from. We knew he had always been there, even before Vikings sailed the sea. Men had built his first city. The old man was there, waiting in the woods. He told us his rhymes in secret, in hushed whispers while we played in our backyards and our parks. He's an old man that lives in the woods, but one day he couldn't find any food. Then he realized that children taste pretty good. He waits by the trees for you to come by and for you to come out to play. Then he'll take you far, far away. You can scream if you want, you can beg him to stop, but there is no escape from the man in the woods. It was, in hindsight, a stupid rhyme. But it always gave us goosebumps and set us to a cool chill up our tiny nose. Yes? Don't go. Cause not that scary.
No, I just don't want to listen to
Okay, I can fix that. Oh, I just got permission to read a different story. Oh, hell yeah. I got to read permission. I got permission to read The Party Never Ends by the haunting underscore minute underscore 5103. Okay. Let me just quit this one. I thought music is awfully loud for some reason. Let me solve that. Just trying to get everything down to 30. There we go. Okay. In hindsight, it was a stupid rhyme. But it always gave us goosebumps and sent that cold chill up our tiny little spines. The fear of the old man, whether he was real or not, was enough to keep us confined to safe and well-lit spaces. It had worked all the way up to the days that 10-year-old Daniel Kufferman decided that he was far too old to believe in some old boogeyman. He was 10 years old after all, and the woods were a prime location for building a fort, he told us with a grin. We disagreed with him. He tried to get away. We tried to get him to play board games with us, to play hide and seek on the playground. We offered anything we could think of to distract him from the force, but slides, swings, and playing with younger kids was not enough to keep his interest. We all watched the boy march into the woods with purpose. He'll be back in a few minutes, we told ourselves as we played on the swings. As soon as he gets hungry, he'll come out for lunch. We told each other as we went down the slide, but he never came back out again. We called to him, shouting his name at the edge of the woods till our tiny voices were lost. We dared not to go further than that. The rhyme about the old man in the woods was like a ghost on our tongues. We dared not to say our fears out loud. Eventually, someone ran to get the parents. The parents came in droves and marched with a purpose, with their flashlights shouting, "Daniel, Daniel!" like a chant. The police came out with their bloodhounds, and the TV crew came out with their cameras. But no one ever saw Daniel again. He was well and truly lost. No matter how many times his parents pleaded for his return on television, no matter how many missing posters we printed, it was not enough to bring him back. The children kept to ourselves after that. We've been reluctant to our own home and to our own backyards. Our parents were convinced that there were bears in the woods or kidnappers or perhaps something worse. It was weeks before we were able to return to the playground. Even fear cannot keep a children from playing in the warm summer day. It's not long before we're playing as we were before, chasing each other in the open field, swinging from the monkey bars. Occasionally, one of us would glance in the trees and look quickly away, and move on to the other side of the playground to go sit with our mothers. If you had been one of the children to look in the woods, you might have seen it too. The face of the withered old man peeking from behind from a poplar tree, with white eyes and a bloody smile. It's a short one. It's quick and short. I like it. Oh, I forgot to share this. My apologies. Copy link. Share to the chat. There we go. There we go. There we go. So, we got permission to read a story that I had my eyes on probably since yesterday, which is The Party Never Ends by Reddit user haunting underscore minute underscore 5103. Tell me, have you heard this story? The Party Never Ends. Oh, it's a long one too. Good. I had waited months to be 8. My parents had promised the biggest party ever, a trip to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. I imagined bright lights and rainbow balloons, pizza stacked tower high, and animatronics that moved about like people. I'd never had a any clue how mistaken real could be. The building towered bigger than I had envisioned. The door glowed with the flashing neon lights. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. The smell came to me first. Pizza, popcorn, something else with a bitter metallic flavor that curled my stomach inside. The laughter bounced off the walls. The animatronics band sat on the stage. It was stiff as statues. Freddy, Fazbear, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. Their smiles were perfectly stitched, but their eyes seemed to track even when I wasn't looking. Don't overdo it, Lucas said. My mom said, readjusting my wonky party hat. I didn't listen. I ran to the stage, staring at Freddy. The birthday party went on as usual. I played games, won prizes, and posed for pictures with the animatronics. The lights dimmed during the happy birthday song. That's when I noticed Bonnie's head slightly lean in my direction. I blinked, and all was good. I shrugged it off. It's just a show, I told myself. The host then escorted the kids to the arcade room following cake. I rushed ahead, eager to play with the claw machine. But I turned to see the room was empty. No kids, no adults, just the echo of my own voice. Mom? Dad? I yelled. Nothing. Then the sounds, slow, dragging, clicking. Not human, heavy, metallic. Bonnie stood at the end of the arcade room, black eyes shining on me, head cocked abnormally. Time to play. Panted a cold metallic voice. I fled. Corridors curled back upon themselves. Doors vanished, and every corner recurred without quite completing itself. Freddy's laughter soon echoed above. Foxy popped up at the end of a hallway, one eye shining, and then vanished into darkness. The eating area was dark and empty. Streamers were draped around upturned tables. Animatronics' bodies stood just about out of sight. A voice in the shadows. Lucas, play with me. I fled to the storage room, slamming the door behind me. Metallic fingers brushed against my arm. My pulse hammered. Suddenly voices. My parents, oh, relief. I ran towards them. The main dining area was just normal and fine. The animatronics returned on the stage. Fine, but I couldn't help feeling that something chilled had passed over my shoulder as I left. After that one instance of fear in the dining room, I knew something was wrong. My parents and I sat at the table, smiling and chatting, but there was something off. The low lights made shadows where shadows shouldn't be. Fingers stretched across walls and floors. Curiosity and fear battled inside my chest. I reminded myself that I was a brave one. I had to be, so I stole away from the table, trying not to get too close to the animatronics on stage. The main hallway stretched farther than it had when I came in. Doors I remembered clearly, bathrooms, supply closets, even a janitor's closet were now twisted, some gone altogether. My sneakers squeaked on the tile so loudly that I was sure that each of the animatronics would notice, and then I heard it, a soft mechanical shuffling, metallic against tile. I froze. From the other end of the hall, Bonnie appeared, creeping, head tilted to the side as if watching me, movements spastic but deliberate. My stomach dropped. I cowered into a dark side of the corridor for what I prayed was an exit. For what I prayed. But the layout has changed. I turned to a bend, and there stood Chica, beak shaking unnaturally, eyes glowing faintly. In the shadows behind her, I could have sworn I saw Foxy's hook glinting. I ran through the kitchen. The exotic scent of burnt pizza and stale grease hanging in the air. Each step rebounded. I could hear the heavy footfalls behind me. Closer now. Freddy's cackle traveled through the pipes, a high, tiny sound. There was a door at the end of the hallway that led into the back storage room. I opened it and slammed it behind me. The room was tiny and cramped, filled with boxes and housewares and pizza toppings. I leaned back against the door, beating hard, and then I saw something move in the dark. Bonnie's shape stood, eerily still, yet somehow closer. Her eyes reflected like black jewels in the darkness, following my echoing each breath. My trembling fingers knew that there was no place there I might hide. Lucas, come play. The waiting voice whispered, appearing to come from all of nowhere at the same time. I edged over piles of boxes, searching for an alternate exit. At the back of a stack of crates, I found a steep stairwell descending. The steps creaked ominously beneath my feet, and a chill, damp smell welcomed me. The basement. Water collected on the floor, my image shimmering as I moved carefully. I could hear something stirring in the dark water up ahead, something slow, deliberate. My heart was racing, attempting to step back, but the stairs behind me were nowhere. Disappeared. I was stranded. And then I heard it, clanking metal, getting closer in the water. Freddy's cackling, deep and unhinged, resonating off the walls. I could see things stirring just below the surface, writhing, jerking, as if the animatronics themselves had been something unnatural. All I thought to do was to run forward into dark, blind water. The water was icy. It seeped into my socks, soaking my sneakers with every step. The basement extended as far out as I could, walls disappearing into shadows, ceilings dripping with condensation. I tried to be quiet, but the ripples betrayed me. Clank. The sound echoed once more, closer this time. Something was in the water with me. I stood there paralyzed. The water churned a few feet out, and then subsided, like something had just slid beneath. I took a trembling step back. That's when a low, robotic voice, breathing through the blackness. The water spouted in front of me. A giant shape surged out of the water. Foxy, its fur was dripping wet, clamped to the metallic exoskeleton below. One red burning eye stared out. Its hook glistening wet, water sheathed of its shape as it swerved its head and with a sickening groan, as though it had been underwater the whole time. I ran. My legs splashed. My steps were so loud they awakened the dead. Foxy's burst behind me, smashing through the water fast and faster. Then something broke. Something broke and could move. I thought its hook snagged on a wall, sparks erupting in the darkness. I ran to the flicker of the light in front, a low-hanging bulb above a service entrance. My fingers rustled at the doorknob, locked. I crashed my shoulder against it, fierce surging water behind me, being bellowed as Foxy's footsteps approached. Closer, the overhead bulb flickering once, then went out, leaving me in utter blackness. I wheeled. Shoved at the door, I could hear Foxy's rasping, whirring breath, the sound of his servos far away, then silence. Silence except for the dripping water. I stood there shaking, not even able to breathe, then splash to my left. I turned my head in that direction, but it was empty. Splash to my right. Foxy was playing with me, leading me around circles, teasing me. I just couldn't take it anymore. I screamed and flung myself into the dark water past the door, praying that I'd find another door from way out. My legs burned, lungs heavy. A low, gluttering laughter followed me in the dark, but Freddy's bright, persistent laugh. No, this one was broken, twisted, like static ripping through metal. In the distance, I spotted another light flickering, groaning, a staircase. I pushed towards it, dragging myself out of the water, sliding down the slick stairs, my knees banging into concrete, pain shooting through my legs, but I didn't relent. I glanced back once. The water roared wildly, then fell still, and within the stillness, Freddy's voice, drawing out his words slowly, thundered through the basement like rumbling storm clouds. "Don't leave the party, Lucas." Light above me cut out, and for a moment I could have sworn I saw shapes in the water, half-broken robots, their luminescent eyes underwater, watching me climb up. I trudged through the stairs, fighting to open the door. What lay beyond wasn't the restaurant anymore. It was something else. The door slammed shut behind me with a metallic bang. Oh god. And it rung out much longer than it should have, as if I was inside a cave. My chest was heavy as I panted. My fleeting movement, I felt safer. However, when I took and looked around, I saw that I have not escaped. The hall continued impossibly long, the kind of space that you could never walk in one building. The fluorescent lights buzzed weakly overhead, their fires quivering like insects about to die. Birthday commercials covered the walls, but the eyes of the cartoon Freddy seemed to haunt me, grins expanding in the water or wider with every turn I looked away. I whispered to myself, "It's not real, it's not real," but the groans beneath me was real enough, slippery, with something other than spilled soda. I struggled forward, my sneakers squeaked against the tile. With every step, I felt the walls close in on me, just a little bit more, hallway down the hallway. I heard the scrapes of claws on the metal. Freak, I froze, but the sound was coming from above. I leaned slowly back, peering up. The ceiling vents clanged. A shape was visible behind the grate. Two glinting eyes, Chica, her beak prodding the vent, covered with a metallic clang, nipping at the bars, her feathers unraveling like decaying cloth. I scrambled my legs before even I had the time to think. I ran, her claws rasping on the interior of the vent, scraping harder, faster. Through there, She was moving above me, behind me. I did not stop until I drove into a different corner. The hall branched off into two. Left darkness, right a soft light. The light won, of course. I stumbled into what seemed to be in the party room. The tables were decorated for birthdays, and the cake melted halfway. Balloons slumped. No families, no children. Only empty hats strew about the floor, as if someone had ran off quickly. And on the other end of the room, Freddy stood, not the one on stage, not the stiff smiling bear. This one was taller, broader, his suit torn in places, reeling wires vibrating beneath. His hat was tipped, his mouth tipped a little too wide. Happy birthday, Lucas, he said in a voice that was not in his show voice. It was deeper, slower, as if the sound dragging through rust. I retreated, stepping over a chair. Freddy moved one slow step closer to me, then another, then another. His footsteps creaked the floor. I turned around to run out back into the hall, only to find Foxy there, now blocking my path. Water still dripping from the wet fur, withering hook that had me cornered. I grabbed the closest thing near me, a shattered birthday plate, and hurled it at Freddy. It shattered on his chest. Pieces were falling uselessly. He blinked. They moved closer together, stepping in. Freddy's shadow fell over me, covering the room, and then the lights went dark, dark, black dark. I couldn't see them, but I heard them. Gears grating, metal joints cracking, their claws scraping, and worst of all, the breathing. Oh, the slow, heavy, mechanical surrounding me. The moment the light faded, I froze. My heart pounded so hard it drowned out it drowned out everything else, battering in my ears. I tried not to breathe too hard, tried not to move, but the silence did not last. A metallic snap, harsh than a hook dragging on the floor behind me. I crept back, hands out, trying to find a wall to hold on to, something solid. My fingers traced flaking paper sticky and damp. I traced along, hoping it would lead out me to a door. Something growled, low, raspy, not quite human. The air stirred before me, hot and pungent, like a lung exhaling on my cheek. I couldn't see it, but Freddy was behind me. Right behind. I backed away, tipping over a falling chair. The crash echoed like a gunshot, and the room erupted into an echoey thump. Large feet coming towards me. Scratch. Claws on the wall. That vile the vile laughter moving closer towards me. I crawled on my hands and knees, shoving myself under one of those big tables. My hands met pizza crust from years ago and sticky spills of soda, but I didn't care. I curled in the darkness, hoping that they couldn't locate me. The steps dragged and stopped. For a moment, I only heard the quiet whir of servants. Sound changed one pair of feet, then another, pacing around the table. Something crouched down. Joints groaned, slow and labored, just ahead of me. I shut my eyes hard. Then a voice, Freddy's voice, low and grotesque, out in the darkness. Ready or not, here we come. The table turned over with a sudden crash, splintering wood and light back into the room. Flickering emergency lights, dim red and thudding. The animatronics loomed over me, too tall, too close, shadows groaning like things. Freddy leaned over, metal fingers on my shirt. I screamed and kicked, getting away, running along the cleft between them. My legs burned as I ran back into the hall, the emergency lights guiding me like blood-red veins. The hallway curled again, longer and narrower. Behind me, I could hear them following. Freddy's pounding, Foxy's burrowing hook against the tile, the shaking wet vents above me as Chica slid through. They weren't following me in order to remain behind me. They were stalking me, and the hallway was changing as I ran. Doors appeared where none had previously existed. Walls bent inwards. One tore shut on me without warning, and I skipped to a stop. I turned to the other side, another door creaking open on the right itself, darkness yawning within. I didn't hesitate. I sprinted through the door, shut it behind me, trapping me in utter silence again. But this time, I wasn't alone. The door slammed shut behind me, and I was plunged into total darkness. My chest was pumping, lungs were burning. I had nothing other than the drips of water somewhere in the distance and the faint hum of machinery. I moved very slowly forward. My foot bumped against something cold and unyielding. Another step, another shape. My hand reached out, running up against the metal. I froze. I was not alone. Blundering through the darkness, I felt more figures, a dozen and one. Arms twisted at impossible angles, wires trailing off, eyes missing out of or smoldering with an otherworldly light. Somewhere in the shadows, defective animatronics. A couple had stuffing pouring out of them. Some had cracked plastic faces. Their teeth grinned with ridiculous smiles. I swallowed hard. Their stances didn't change, but I knew that they're looking at me. A soft whirl of metal echoed from around the stock of crates. One of the silhouettes stiffened. A spring exploded in the soft distance, soft but indefinable. I heard a slow dragging. Click, click, click. Of Foxy entering the room, followed by the creak of Freddy's massive body struggling through the water-stained floor. I collapsed back, heart thudding. My back hit a wall, and I clung to it, regarding the shapes surrounding me. Some of them were stooping over smashed tables, half concealed in boxes, waiting. Some were holding wires taut like veins, wiggling a little as if trying to extend themselves, and I saw their eyes, little red and green lights flashing from sockets in the head of some of them, of the crashed animatronics. They weren't dead, not exactly. Not like the other Freddy and Foxy. They were looking at me, waiting, breathing. I realized something terrible. The animatronics on stage, the ones chasing me, those weren't the worst of it. These were older ones, discarded, forgotten, and now they were famished. I stepped back, knocking over a crate. Sparks flew, some wires burning against the metal ground. A whine cut through the room. One of them had spotted me. Its body jerked forward, scraping along concrete, metal joints crunching. I leapt over boxes, bounding into the darkness, desperately seeking a new door, a new way out. With each step, each groan, the figures jerked more. Metal shrieked. Springs broken. A ghostly accompaniment of an eerie giggle echoed through the room. Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, accompanied by the shattered ones. I didn't know which way to turn. Every shadow shifted. Every figure seemed on the verge of reaching out, and overhead, the vent clattered. Chica, I knew then with a chill, sinking terror that the restaurant was more than a building. It was alive. It moved, it shifted, it wriggled, ensnaring everyone trapped inside, and now it wanted me. I didn't have a choice. I needed to run. Every step, the ground groaned underfoot, and the destroyed animatronics stumbled, half their bodies twitching as they turned to pursue. There were sparks from fried wire, sparks on the slippery floors, but the metal beast wouldn't give up. I sprinted through the narrow gap between two piles of crates, sending a stack of party hats tumbling. Something dropped behind me. I didn't look. There was a faint squeal of metal on metal that dropped my stomach. I heard gears clicking and servos complaining. Freddy's voice echoed above me somewhere. Where do you think you're going, Lucas? I stumbled into another hallway, my breath suspended in my throat, walls stretched unnaturally, banners sagging like shattered teeth. Water stretched across the tire, reflecting dim red lights. Foxy the Hook clawed the walls behind me. I could hear him. I could feel him. I caught sight of a small door on the far side of the hallway. I sprinted for it, yanking it open, and stumbled through. The door thudded shut behind me with a defeating thunk. Silence, relief washed over me for a moment, and then I remembered this wasn't reality. It was an entirely different room. The walls were lined with shattered mirrors. Reflection went on forever. Distorted. In every reflection, I could see the animatronics watching, waiting. Freddy's stitched arm, grin stretched impossibly wide. Chica's beak open wide. Bonnie's twitching fingers. I turned and ran, and heard the sound of a movement behind me. The twisting animatronics in the rear were moving, their twisted bodies shuffling along, wires snapping, metal joints groaning. I had to escape. I remembered the basement, the flooded basement. Maybe I could reach the stairwell again. I ran through the room, a mirror shattered glass at every step, and burst into the hallway. The strobing emergency lights guided me. The hallway looped again. Every step felt like I moved further away. I heard footsteps behind me. Freddy, Foxy, Chica, all of them. Their cold, mechanical laughter echoed. The ping and pop of broken animatronics. I reached the stairway. The stairs were wet, slippery. I scrambled down, palms scraping cement. Water collected at my ankles. I could feel things swimming underneath the surface. I did not look. I ran. And then a hand, a metallic, cold, and probably hard, grasping my shoulder. I screamed and shoved free. Running into the water, I splashed over after me. Foxy ran, but I kicked off a wall and crabbed across the faint light at the far end of the basement. The water was up now, almost to my chest. My legs were burning, splashing on through the water, feeling something stirring under me. Forms slid noiseless, coming after me. Some had distorted faces, others pulsing faintly. I didn't stop. Finally, I saw a door to light, real light. I sprinted for it, pulling myself out of the water. My palms scraped the concrete edges. I pulled myself out. I staggered out of the main lobby. The restaurant was back to its usual self. Animatronics sat on the stage, motionless. My parents stood by the table, waving at me. The other kids laughed, playing games, eating pizza. I collapsed into my mom's arms. I thought I was trapped, I stuttered. Shaking, she hugged me close. It's okay, honey. You're safe now. Did you have fun? I nodded, but I couldn't shake the feeling that a few of Freddy's Fazbears had followed me along. At the basement, the mirrors, the broken animatronics, none of those things were behind me. And somewhere in the twisted shape deep inside, I knew that the party was only just starting because Freddy Fazbear never sends anyone anywhere. The following morning, I woke up in my bed, sunlight streaming through the curtains. For an instant, I believed that it was all just a dream. Then I noticed tiny scratches on my bedroom door, slight marks of what looked like grease. I reassured myself that this was from the previous night, that having tripped on my toys or on my own mind. But the sensation didn't dissipate. The chills weightly feeling on my chest, as if the eyes were upon me. My parents chatted pleasantly at breakfast, but I barely nibbled at my cereal. The kitchen shadow was making me flinch. I could have sworn I heard soft clicking, click, click down the hallway. But then I looked around. I saw nothing. The following days, I noticed little things. I looked strange in my bedroom mirror. Freddy's face, or at least a close approximation of it, was behind me for the briefest second before it disappeared. My backpack had been moved overnight. The toys in my bedroom weren't where I left them. That night, I woke up to a gentle hum, sound coming from the living room. I stepped out into the hallway, my heart pounding, and stood there in a frozen stance. The old music box animatronic, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, once I had been given as a party favor, was spinning on the table. The tune it played distorted, off-key, hollow. And then I heard a soft robotic voice in the dark. Lucas, come play. I ran back into my room, slamming the door, wedging the dresser against it. My bed shook. I dove into the blankets, but I couldn't drown out the whir of servos, the scraping of claws, the harsh chuckle that chased me through the basement. Even in sleep, the restaurant tormented me. I would find myself awake in the darkened hall, water up to my waist, Freddy looming over me with that stitched, impossible smile. A whole birthday celebration that I dreamed about appeared like trap-filled, nightmarish plots, all darkness, all scurry of metal and glint of glass seemed to have life. And I knew the truth. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza doesn't stop when the party's over. It doesn't mind if the lights are on, the doors are closed, or the birthday boy is snug in his own bed. Somewhere hidden in gears and wires, it waits. It watches. And one day it would return for me. Because when Freddy Fazbear Pizza picks you, it never releases you. Good one. I like that one. Good one. I was not expecting Freddy Fazbear. Sorry, I'm quickly complimenting them. There we go. Oh, that was a long one. I didn't think that'd be that long. Sorry, I got thirsty. I don't know if you guys were able to tell. My throat was like dying at the end of that. Very well. Ah, good one. Okay. I'm going to do a few up. So far, I got Nora, or Reddit user haunting _minute _5103. All your stories fucking amazing. Can't give me the cuss. All your stories amazing. Please keep up the good work. It is lovely. Ah, oh yes, we saw the ice cream parlor story. Oh, and the fire tower watchman. I'm a fire tower watchman in Alpha, and something strange is happening around the tower. We now have part two to that by the Erie Boys. I forgot to mention. So let's quickly read the part two to those. I remember, I'm pretty sure in part 8 or part 9 of the stories that we've been reading, we did get through, we did get to the I got a job at an asking partner, the rules are strange, and we also did get through, I'm a fire tower watchman in the Apache. Something strange is happening around my town. Okay, so we do have these two parts, so we're to get to them. I don't. I remember we last left off midway through part 2, but due to how uh, we last left off in the middle of part 2, it was wrong to just kind of continue from that middle, and I'm not trying to look through my streams to figure out where we last left off. So what we're gonna do is fairly simple. Oh, in one moment. Hmm. Okay. I'm sorry. I got distracted. Oh. So we're gonna continue off with this story. I'm going to just check chat just in case. What? Wait, what? Let me just adjust you guys. Sorry, the microphone was a bit further away than I liked. Right now I'm waiting for Reddit to reload. It's taking some time. Don't know why my Wi-Fi is messing up. Should be, should be fine. Hmm. Okay. It's slowly loading in. I'm sorry, desperately sorry. I have an Ethernet connection to this. Is this on? Yes, Debbie. What's wrong? You just hit something. You okay? Hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah, I understand. Yes, Debbie? Okay. Please be safe. You're my only dog. That doesn't mean you get louder. Hmm. Okay, there we go. It's loaded up. It took an awfully long time to load. My apologies. My apologies. I should have had that open in a different tab already preloaded. Well, I did not think we got part 2. Okay. Very well. But part of me feels like we should reread part 1. Oh, no, but I do remember part 1. Part 1, if I recall correctly, is a little rundown. We're following a boy. Got his name. Sammy. There we go. We find the boy named Sammy. He gets a job. He gets the graveyard shift at an ice cream parlor, and it comes with a set of rules. The rules seem to be fairly simple. It's rule 1, do not leave the store for any reason during your shift. Rule 2, at 12 a.m., make sure the strawberry ice cream is fully stocked for Kathy. Rule 3, every hour on the hour, go to the freezer, knock on the door 3 times, and walk back to the front. Rule 4, all customers are welcomed. Rule 5, do not make eye contact with the man in black. And we got introduced to all these mechanics, and except for what happens if we fail Rule 3. When we fail Rule 3 of doing, Sammy called Mr. Andres and had to summon a demonic chant, I presume? Yeah, he had to summon a demonic chant to fix the issue. After that, his shift finally ended, and he got picked up by his aunt, if I recall correctly. And now we left off with day 2 of his shift. And this story is a lot longer. So, get comfortable and tell me. Have you heard this story? Posted by Reddit user the Eerie Bros or Reddit user no_cockroach_8165. Okay. Hello? Have you heard this story? I got a job at an ice cream parlor. The rules are strange. My aunt picked me up right outside the store. Thankfully, she was an early riser, so she was more than happy to give me rides. I opened the door and sat down, and I said nothing at first, but soon my aunt was asking me about the job. Hey, kiddo, how was your first night? She asked. It was fine. I lied. I didn't want to tell her about it. People would think I was insane if I told them what had happened to me. Just fine? She asked. It went like pretty fast and it wasn't too busy, so I just stood around most of the time. I said. Well, that's good. I'm glad your first night wasn't that bad, she said. My mind was in a state of chaos. Ghosts or whatever those things were, they were real. Something lived in that freezer. And my boss was probably a demon. A sane person would have left after the first hour. But for some reason, curiosity and money kept me there. The thought of not going back made me feel better, but I knew that wasn't an option. My mind was made up. It was my mission to figure out what was going on in that place. Sammy, are you okay? Aunt Nellie asked. Yeah, sorry. I'm just tired and I need to eat and go to bed, I said. Actually, have you ever seen a ghost, Aunt Nellie? She looked at me confused. No, I can't say I have. Oh, okay, just wondering. I got home, ate something, and went to bed. I woke up and got ready for work. Hey Sam, you can take the car to work tonight, she yelled from downstairs. Oh, thanks Aunt Nellie, I yelled back. I got to work about an hour earlier. I wanted to scope out the place before I started my next shift. The anxiety and fear were gone at this point. The rules seemed simple enough, so I wasn't that worried. I messed up once last night, and I was going to make sure that didn't happen again. With the night planned in my head already, I stepped in the store right before my shift began. Hey Samuel, how are you doing today? Tina said from behind the counter. Pretty good, just getting ready for my shift, I said. How was your first night? She asked. How'd it go? Oh, it was great. I just hope it looked good for you today. I lied. My dog Squeaky door scared the shit out of me. So that Squeaky door caught me off guard. Scared the shit out of me. My fault. Apologies. Hey, Summer. How are you doing today? Tina said from behind the counter. Pretty good. Just getting ready for my shift, so. How was your first night? How'd it go? It was great. I just hoped it looked good for you today. I lied. Oh, yes, Betty said you left the store spotless last night. Yeah, I try. Desperately. I walked into the back of the store and put my keys on my boss's desk. I walked back to the front a minute before my shift and Cheatham was already gone. I clocked in and went straight to the freezer to knock. I turned around and grabbed the egg timer on the prep counter, setting it for 58 minutes to make sure I didn't miss anything tonight. The phone began to ring, and I made my way to the back. Hello, Andy says ice cream. How can I help you? I asked. Hey, Samuel, how was your night? Mr. Andy said. My anxiety spiked immediately. I could feel my heart beating through my chest. Hey, Mr. Andes, it was great. Only one mishap the entire night. I'm impressed, my boy. The thought of whatever was in the freezer made my skin crawl. I had so many questions for Mr. Andes, but I wasn't sure he'd give me the answers I wanted. I cleared my head and asked anyways. Hey, Mr. Andes, what's going on in this shop? I asked. He looked at me with a sinister grin, smiling ear to ear. Are you asking me if you're safe, Sammy? I guess I just need reassurance, to be honest. Sammy, follow the rules to a T and nothing will happen to you. That's my word. I'll be there shortly. Mr. Anders showed up in no time. You could feel his presence. It was like the air thickened. He checked the bathroom, checked the till, and made his way into the back once again. He stood next to the freezer for a few seconds, muttering something under his breath. He turned his head and looked at me. Sammy, everything is going to be okay, he said, smiling at me. That was all he said after scuttling through the shop like he did. He honestly made my skin crawl. He grabbed his coat and stared at the back door. His hand froze on the doorknob. Then he stood there motionless for a few seconds, statue-like. Then he let go, turned back, and looked at me. Sammy, I forgot to mention there's one new rule tonight. But don't worry, okay? He said. My blood ran cold. As simple as the rules were, I knew that one more meant another thing to remember, another chance to end up in harm's way. He swung the back door open and disappeared into the alley. Mr. Andis didn't seem like a bad guy, but at this point I wasn't sure what to think of him. Was he some sort of demon sent to guard a creature in the freezer, or just a creepy dude who enjoyed frozen treats and making people happy? I walked back to his desk and noticed that the rule sheet was there again. All the same rules except for one. Rule 6. Do not check the bathroom. If a customer enters and does not come back, lock the door and leave it alone. It is no longer your concern. I stood there, staring at the roof, with a sinking feeling in my gut. The rules before this seemed simple in comparison. What was happening to people I locked in the bathroom? I decided to brush it off for now and moved on with the night. I worked a couple of hours serving people that came and went, knocking on the freezer when needed. The bell over the door jingled as a man wandered in. Looked tired and pale. I offered him the usual smile, then the one that never quite reached my eyes. The man didn't order. He didn't even glance at the tubs of ice cream behind the glass. He just muttered something about needing the restroom and shuffled towards the back. For a while, it was quiet. The store's hum felt heavier than usual, the fluorescent lights buzzing like nervous teeth. I wiped on the counter just to keep my hands busy. My ears turned to every creak and shuffled into the back. Then it started, a sound low at first, like someone groaning through clenched teeth, then a gasp. And then an unmistakable sound of a scream, jagged and raw, tearing through the thin bathroom door. My heart hammered. I looked at the clock. It maybe been 5 minutes. My body went to a sprint. I pushed the door open to help. Every part of me screamed that this was wrong. I wasn't supposed to just listen. But I knew the rules. My hand shook as I stepped towards the back. The screams twisted now, bending into something less human, like the man's throat was being pulled apart, just to make room for a new sound. My teeth clenched. I pressed my palm to the back of the door, the vibrations of the man's agony rattling against my skin, and then against everything in me. I locked the bolt. The lock clicked loud in the hallway. The screaming stopped. I stood there, my chest raising and falling in ragged bursts. My stomach churned with guilt, bile, and sickening understanding. Whatever was in the bathroom now wasn't the man anymore. I knocked on the door. Nothing. Against my better judgment, I unlocked it and slowly pulled it open. The bathroom was spotless. In fact, it had a lemony scent to it, wafting out. I slammed the door shut and stumbled backwards into the floor. "What the hell is this place?" I yelled. I stood up, turned, and walked back to the front, wiping my hands on my apron as if I could rub off the feeling that would never go away. I looked up at the clock. It had been about 8 minutes since the bell above the door rang, and now again there was nothing. The shop stood silent, besides the buzz from the lights, almost like nothing had happened at all. An eerie peace settled over me. Whatever was in the bathroom was satisfied for now. I stood at the front waiting for another customer, but things had slowed down. The egg timer in the back went off, so I made my way to the freezer, knocked, and returned to the counter. It was 9 p.m. From this point forward, I expected things to stay quiet. I wandered around and poked through some of the papers on Mr. Andres' desk. Nothing looked out of the ordinary, except for a book I'd read from the night before when I missed my hourly knock. The thing looked ancient, bound in black leather. The cover bare symbols or writings. I reached out to open it, curiosity buzzing in my chest before I could flip it open. The bell above the door chimed. It was a boy and his father, same expression, same clothes, same everything. "Hey, guys, welcome to Mr. Andres," I said, half smiling. "I'd like to get a couple of vanilla ice cream cones for me and my son," the man said in a soft, low voice. "No problem, sir. Let me grab you the cones and we'll get those started," I said, not losing eye contact with him as I backed up towards the freezer. I grabbed the cones, brought them back to the counter, and scooped out the vanilla. The man and boy both stood there looking sad as ever. "Would you like toppings?" I asked. They shook their heads in unison. I handed them their cones. "Son, I seem to have left my wallet at home. Is there a way you could—" I cut him off. "Sir, let me take care of that for you." I was fully expecting them to lose it if I didn't for the first time since I'd seen them. They smiled, and then right before my eyes, they evaporated into nothing. A wave of happiness washed over me, warm and almost protective, like a blanket. I wasn't even surprised at this point, watching people vanish into thin air. I had made that boy and his father happy, and somehow that was enough. It was my little way of balancing out the horror of a man who had disappeared into the bathroom just minutes earlier. If I make it through this night, I'm going to need a shrink. I chuckled to myself, trying to clear my head. Then the TV in the dining room switched on by itself. The news anchor appeared on the screen, speaking solemnly about the anniversary of a tragic accident that claimed the lives of Stephen and his young son, Jason Monarch, a father and child who had died in a car crash just outside the ice cream parlor. Tears welled in my eyes. The TV shut on its own. I understood it wanted me to know. Every kid worries about their first 9 to 5 being hard work. I'm just worried mine is going to kill me. The next couple of hours flew by. The knocks continued, and other than the boy and his dad, no other customers came in. I started to wonder why they even needed a night shift worker if no one showed up. I pushed the thought aside and went back about my routine. It was 11:25 now, so I began to top off the strawberry ice cream for Kathy tonight. I had to be ready for her. Midnight came, and like clockwork, Kathy shuffled past the front window and into the store. "Oh, it's you again, boy. You decided to stay." "Hello, Kathy. Is it going to be strawberry tonight?" I asked, trying to sound polite, trying to appease her. "Of course, you nitwit. Why would you even ask?" Her voice ripped through the air like claws on glass. I jumped back nearly out of my skin and began making her cone, my hands shaking uncontrollably. "Boy, why are you so afraid? Just a little old lady." She started laughing. It was a laugh that grew louder and louder, filling every corner of the shop. The sound made me nauseous. I felt like I might pass out. Then, just as the cone touched her hands, the laughter stopped. She looked at the ice cream. "Well, thank you, boy. This cone looks almost perfect." Her eyes softened just for a moment. "Maybe you aren't so bad." Maybe. She turned and walked out the door, vanishing into the night. I let out a massive sigh, my body trembling with relief. I made my way to the back. A sane person would have left right then, but I couldn't. I didn't know why I couldn't just walk away. The phone rang. I picked up and forced a cheer into my voice. "Thanks for calling Mr. Andres' ice cream parlor. How can I help you?" "How are you doing, Sammy boy?" The moment I heard Mr. Andres' voice, that little voice in my head, the one that had been screaming at me all night, exploded. "Mr. Andres, what the hell is going on?" I snapped. "You told me nothing about this place or the damn rules I've been following. I understand your frustration, boy, but there's more important things at stake than you can imagine." I sat there in silence, rage boiling in my chest. His vagueness only made it worse. Before I could speak, he continued. "The shop is more than a shop. Some might say it's living." "What do you mean, living?" "Don't worry, Sammy boy." He briefly hung up. I stared at the receiver, my blood running cold. The shop is alive. What the hell was I a part of? I tried not to think about it, but the words dug into me anyway. Only a couple hours left, just a couple of hours, and I'd be free by 3 a.m. The shop was quiet, too quiet. No sign of the man in black. Only a couple of hours left. I thought, just hold on. I started getting the store ready for the next shift. That's when I felt it. The bell above the door never rang. The air shifted heavier, colder, like a storm cloud had seeped through the walls. My skin prickled before I even realized it was there. Black shoes hovered inches above the tile, gliding forward without a sound. A long coat trailed behind me like smoke. I, and though I kept my eyes glued to the floor, I could feel it endless, impossible blackness staring back at me. The man in black stopped at the counter. The hum of the freezer went silent, leaving the store in a suffocating stillness. My throat went dry. I tightened my grip on the edge of the counter, staring at the scuffed laminate beneath the feet, his voice calm and low, rattling as it layered with echoes of thousands of others. How many have gone into the bathroom and returned? I swallowed hard, my voice shook. One, sir, I cracked. The man in black leaned closer, the air hissed like a leaking pipe. And did you lock the door? Yes, sir. Silence, long crushing, the weight of it pressed against my skull until I thought it might split open. Do you think that makes you innocent? My stomach flipped. I wanted to scream, to look up, to tell him I had no choice, but the rules thundered in my head louder than my own heartbeat. My eyes stayed locked on the floor. No, sir. The man exhaled a sound like the wind moaning through the graveyard. Then came more questions about the customer, about the one who never walked out, about him, each one more unbearable than the last, until I felt smaller than a child. My voice barely a whisper in the dead store. Finally, the air shifted again. The weight lifted. The hum of the freezers returned. I dared to breathe. No footsteps, no door, nothing. He was just gone. My knuckles ached where I'd clutched the counter. Slowly, I looked up, eyes stinging. The store looked exactly the same as before, but it wasn't. It never was. It never was after he came. The rest of the night dragged calmly, but only in the way a graveyard feels calm. My nerves were shot. I needed a shower, a bed, anything but this place, and then salvation. The door opened at 5 a.m., and Betty walked in. Hey, Samuel, she called. Hey, Betty, it's nice to see you. I almost shouted back. How was your night, huh? She asked. I sighed. The weight of the night slid off my shoulders like a crumbling wall. Betty, it was fine. I think I've bitten off more than I could chew. Oh, that's unfortunate, huh? The last manager left too without saying a word. I walked out right in the middle, and walked right out in the middle of his shift. No one's heard of him since. The poor guy, he hadn't followed the rules. I didn't want to imagine what happened to him. Bark responded. Car horn honked outside. Betty and I turned towards the window. A pair of older women were waving wildly from a car. We waved back. I wish I had that much energy in the morning, Betty laughed. I forced a smile and said my goodbyes and walked out. Good riddance of that cursed ice cream parlor. I got in my car and made my way home. I pulled up in front of the house. My car rattling the whole way until it finally shut off with a groan. For once, it felt good just to be home. My aunt was on the porch watering her plants, humming softly and low under her breath. For a fleeting moment, things felt almost normal again. Then I saw the sedan. A black four-door eased up to the curb, moving too smoothly, too deliberately. Didn't belong here, and I knew it before the doors even opened. Two men stepped out in perfect unison, both dressed in sharp black suits with bright red ties. Their polished shoes caught the street light, their faces unreadable. My aunt froze, the garden hose dripping from her hand. She didn't speak, but I could feel the tension radiating off of her as the taller man looked straight at her and spoke in a voice that felt like it had already chosen the outcome. Ma'am, would you mind giving us a moment with your nephew? She gave me one last look, a mix of warning and fear before slipping inside. The door creaked shut, leaving me alone with both men turned their attention towards me at once, their gazes heavy and unblinking. Samuel, I presume? The taller man said, and my stomach dropped. They already knew my name. We have a few questions about your place of employment, the shorter one added. I shoved my hands into my jacket pockets, hoping to hide the tremors in them. What kind of questions? I have asked, my voice thinner than I wanted it to be. The shorter man tilted his head, his sharp eyes gleamed unnaturally. Do you always keep the strawberry flavor stocked at midnight? The word hit me like a punch. My throat went dry. The taller man scribbled something into a notepad while I struggled to respond. Yes, always. He leaned closer, his voice dropping into a soft whisper that slithered into my bones. And have you ever looked at him? The one in black? A chill caught up my spine and forced my eyes down the pavement. No, never. I follow the rules, I said proudly. The taller man's pen paused mid-scratch. The shorter one's voice cut in quite sharper. Would you go back if we needed you to? The words echoed in my skull. My mind felt like jelly. Who are you guys? I asked, barely managing to speak. They exchanged a glance unreadable. Then, not answering, one of them slipped a hand into his jacket, pulled out a plain white card. He presented it and passed and pressed into my hand with deliberate care. In the center was a strange black emblem, a circle with 3 arrows pointing inward, all surrounded with a ring with 3 outline marks at the end. I'd seen it before, though I couldn't say where. I didn't feel like a logo, it felt like a warning. Beneath the emblem, 3 words: secure, contain, protect. Call this number if things change. I flipped the card over. A single phone number was scrawled neatly across the back. When I looked up, they were already sliding back into the sedan. The doors shut in perfect unison. The engine rumbled once, and they were gone. No headlights, no taillights, nothing. I stood on the curb, card burning hot in my hand. Behind the screen door, my aunt's shadow lingered, watching me. How do they know about the rules? How do they know about him? Whatever I was involved in, it was a lot bigger than I could have ever imagined. It's great. Oh, that's great. I was not expecting the SCP Foundation. Oh, I gotta share this one. Hold on, my fellas. Let me share part 1 extra. Not 2. Part 1. You fellas, please do read this. Oh, I gotta compliment them. Hold on. I gotta compliment the author. Oh, this was great. Hold on. Oh, did I mess up? This has some comments on it. Oh, yeah, this is a good question. Right, I'm reading the comments, and there's 2 of them. It's from the original poster, and we have some questions. Reading this made me have 2 questions for you, okay, as the author. One, I was reading from part 1, and I was expecting that this would happen. In its own universe you created, and honestly, I'm surprised that you added SCP in here. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just outside my expectations. Is this based from an already existed SCP, and you created a story from it, or is this an original SCP? If it was the former, you must ask permission for the original author first before you create a story based from it. Now the next would be a comment to you as well, Samuel. Now the next would be a comment to you as Samuel. My mind was made. My mind was made up. It was my mission to figure out what was going on in that place. Dude, no, don't do that. It's stupid to think that you have a mission to do that. Don't be stupid and didn't teach it yourself. Just do what you were asked and follow the rules. Unless you have a backup for anything bad happens. Call this number if things change. All right, now you have backup. Are you going to tell them the things I've already changed? The new 6th rule? Don't forget, once you told them, there's a chance that the place would be secured by them, making you lose your job. But at the same time, continuing the job would be dangerous too. At worst, you would have gone missing or lose your life. Think about how bad it would have been for your aunt to feel. No matter how you process, no matter how you process this, keep those 2 in your mind. And then we have something from the original author. It's all original. Part 3 is coming. I am excited for part 3. Oh, I must say, bravo, my dear good friend. Bravo, your bros. Hold on, I must compliment them. Luckily, I have contact with them. I'm so lucky I have contact with all the authors, and I'm so happy. I'll say my job dropped when I read secure, contain, protect. I'm excited. Oh, I messed up the word. I'm excited for part 3. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's great. That's a good start. I'm a sucker for SCP. Which makes me want to read more of the SCP things, but I don't know if I have the, but I don't know what it's like getting permission from them because I know for r/creepypasta you can't read anything from them unless you get direct permission from the actual author, which is rather hard to do as there's not a real way to contact them. Maybe I could investigate more into that in my own time. SCP is something I would love to read more into. I love the concept of SCPs. It's a great thing. Now we have part two to this story, which we'll read shortly. I'll be right back. I'm quite parched, and I ran out of water. So yeah, I'll be back. Stay put. I returned, everyone, with more water. Don't forget to be hydrated. Hydration is very important in life. I shouldn't have shown that off. There we go. And here we go. Well, now then. No. Okay. Deep breaths. I just wanted to check if they were both responding to me. I know, I'm pretty sure they're probably already asleep. Well, yeah, this one's short. Posted on their official page, posted on their Reddit page, Theory Bros or Reddit user no underscore cockroach underscore 8165. Posted 13 days ago. Tell me, have you heard this story? I'm a fire tower watchman and up with Chia. Something strange is happening around my tower. Part 2. Oh, I probably should give a rundown of part 1, actually. Part 1 is strange. I probably should go get a summary of that. Oh, sure, we can just read part 1. We can reread part 1. Have your seats. Part 1. I won't give my name for the sake of my job, but I will say I'm a 30-year-old man working in... I don't remember how to pronounce this word. It's annoying me. Appalachia. I was mispronouncing that heavily then. My apologies. Appalachia. I won't give my name for the sake of my job, but I will say I'm a 30-year-old man working in Appalachia. It was around June, so it was warm and super humid outside. I had been on the lookout for about a week already, and I really did was check in and keep watch. It was about 11 p.m. and I called to the crew chief to clock in for the last check in for the day. They asked me if I ran into anything today, and I just told him no. He copied and walked back to my desk. I walked back to my desk to dive back into the book I've been reading. I sat down for not even 5 minutes when a bright flash engulfed on the north side of my tower's windows. Nearly fell out of my chair trying to jump to my feet. I stood there in disbelief, not knowing if it was some rogue lightning bolt or a UFO. I looked out the windows and stared into pure darkness. I could see nothing but the dark forest silhouette beneath the bright moonlight. I looked for about 3 minutes and saw nothing. I got onto the radio and made a call into three tower, who was my closest neighbor. He picked up the radio and asked what was wrong. I asked if he'd seen a bright flash in the north, and he said he hadn't. I told him that it must have been my imagination, and he 10-4'd me on it. Just as I set the radio down, I began to hear what sounded like a low humming noises. And outside the door, and walked out into the moonlight. The humming stopped as soon as I stepped outside. I walked around the perimeter of the tower and found nothing. I made my way back to the door, scratching my head as what was happening. I went inside and locked the door, preparing myself for sleep. I kicked off my boots and hopped into the bed, melting my day away. When I woke up the next morning, I made my coffee and began my morning readings. I opened the tower door and stepped out into the beautiful morning. The fog was thick. I couldn't really see anything on the ground. I leaned against the railing and stirred my coffee as I took in the morning air. I spun around to go back inside, and that's when I noticed a handprint on the door window. The only reason I noticed it was because it was almost printed into the door with what looked like a black suit, almost like charcoal or something like that. I panicked a little and radioed 3 Tower again and let him know about my findings. He said I must have done it by accident, or it was there and I didn't notice it before. I reluctantly agreed with him and signed out. The day went on as usual, with nothing going on. I radioed in my last check at 11 p.m. and waited. My plan was tonight was to pretend to be asleep to see if I could catch anything. I sat up for a couple of hours, fighting the. I sat up for a couple of hours, fighting the urge to. Sorry, I'm missing my place here. My apologies. I, I sat up for a couple of hours, fighting the urge to drift off into dreamland, when all of a sudden a thunderous footsteps began to sprint up the stairs leading up to my tower. I rolled off my bed and crawled under the bed. The sprinting continued until there were only flashlights flight of the stairs away from the top of the tower. The sprint had slowed to an almost predator-like creeping, footsteps too heavy to hide. They finally hit the top of the stairs, but to my amazement, nothing was there. The creeping continued along the outside of the tower until they reached the door. My heart was in my throat, and I was almost certain that I was dying. Nothing happened after that. The deafening silence broke throughout the forest. Not a cricket was fiddling nor an owl was hooting. I fell asleep under my bed and woke up into another beautiful morning. I tried to tell my boss, but they simply didn't believe me, blaming the solitude on my nightmares. So I bring this to Reddit and attempt to see what has happened to anyone else, or maybe someone has an explanation. I'll update everyone later. So that's what happened with part 2. Have you heard this story? I'm a fire tower watchman in Appalachia. Something strange is happening on my tower. Hey everyone, sorry about the long wait to hear from me again. Fires in the area have been keeping me pretty busy, so it's been a second since I've been back to the tower. I usually wouldn't come down from the tower, but the fires are extremely close and it's all hands on deck. We finally stopped the main fire, so I have some time to myself. Thanks to all of you out there for messaging me on my last post. A lot of good ideas for me this time around. I've been gone for about 17 days now on fire duty. I camped with a crew for three other days: Mo, JC, and Miranda. It was about night 6 when strange sounds started to happen. JC woke up in a cold sweat, screaming at the top of his lungs. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Over and over again. Mo could shake him out of it. It shook us all pretty bad. As well, but there was just something that was just from the beginning. The next thing it happened again, but JC wasn't in his tent this time. His screaming was coming 40 feet away in the woods now. Same horrible thing he was screaming last night. When we found him, he was weeping into his hands, begging us not to let the man take him. We looked at each other, and goosebumps formed on our bodies. When we snapped out of it, he had no recollection of what just happened. In fact, he asked us what was going on when we finally looked up at us. The next morning, we called for medical to come to get JC out of there for his own good. We weren't sure what was going on, but he was in no state to keep watch with us. Nothing for 3 days, and then Mo started to act funny. I woke up to take a piss and noticed Mo's tent was open. I looked around to see no trace of him. I called out with reluctance, not knowing what I was calling out into the darkness exactly. I stood there for a few minutes waiting to hear anything, but the silence was both silent as a library. There was no sound whatsoever. No crickets, no owls, no nothing. Out here, that's not a good sign. I zipped up in my pants and turned back to my tent. I turned around and noticed Mo standing in front of his tent with his head down. Mo? I called out, but no reply. I walked over to him and put my hand on his shoulder. When he turned towards me, his face looked different. Eyes white, face stretched, and mouth agape. I stepped backwards into terror and fell onto my butt. I jumped to my feet and looked back at Mo. His face was completely normal. He just looked on the look of confusion on his face. "What are you doing?" he asked. I asked him what was wrong, and he said nothing. He just got up to go to the bathroom like I had. I didn't mention his face to anyone. I just chalked it up to late night hallucinations. I went back to my tent and laid around for an hour or so with my face stuck in my head. Over the next few days, there was a shift in the team's mood. Over the course of these 15 days, we went from happy, helpful, to kind of standoffish, mean, and rude. Not to mention, no one wanted anything to do with another. I could almost feel something dark clawing at me from the woods. The feeling of weight on my chest and the cold, damp feeling in the air made it very clear to me that whatever was probably visited me at my lookout that night. I put the feeling behind me and we got back to work. on the morning of the 16th day, things really hit the fan. I got a call on the SAT phone and the SAT phone from the fire captain that a family of three had gone missing and camp was torn apart a few miles from us. I asked what they thought what it was, and he replied, "We have no idea, but just keep an eye out for anyone." At about 8 a.m., I woke up to Mo and Miranda fighting about which direction we should go to the place to the next marker. I told them about the missing family. They continued to fight. It got so bad that I had to get between them. I got everyone to calm down, and we started to head back to the meetup to get picked up. No one said a single word the entire 6 mile walk back to the spot. Thankfully, our ride was there waiting for us, and everything was starting to feel better. I got back to the lookout and got unpacked. Since I've been back, I can feel something's off. I haven't heard anything about JC. Still, I haven't heard back about the missing family yet. I'm hoping for some good news. These woods hold on to something dark, and I'm going to find out what. I'll check back in soon. Interesting. But I got thirsty. Good one. I'm excited to see part 3. Or hear part 3. Though I'm pretty sure we did have a conversation between me and the Erie Bros about this. Having hard part with part 3. Oh no, wait on. We're talking about the Eskin parter and its simple rules. Halfway through part 2, I had a blackout, so that was already terrifying. Okay. Oh wow, that's crazy. I hope you're okay. I'm kind of having a hard time with part 3, but hopefully it'll be out soon. I'm gonna repost part 2 of the Watchtower story. I multi-posted it and it was removed. Ah, hell yeah. Okay, so well, right now they're working on part 3 of the Ice Cream Parter, which that's perfectly fine. I'm excited for that part 3. Okay. Okay. Now then, where to go? We have to see if Stu has posted anything. Now we have stuff. Sleep paralysis. Let's see. No. Nothing. Strange. Very well. Let's go to Dover Hawk. Okay. Let's go to this. Let's see. Scroll down. Souvenir. Erotic horror story. You know, we're gonna skip that. Yeah, I don't like reading a erotic horror story. So it keeps going down. Welcome to Iris. We've read Iris's things. We also read Welcome to Odin. Yep. Okay, okay. Very well. Oh, it's already 11:25. Really? So. Okay. Let's read this one. Make sure you take a seat, relax, and oh, that's a word. I always pick the ones with hard words to pronounce. Pronunciation. Knock? Oh. That's a Danish word, knock? Knocking? Could be knocking. I think it is knocking. That's what I can find online. Reminds you, it's spelled like how knock is from Rainbow. Say, knock. Posted an r/no sleep 8 years ago by Reddit user Dover Hawk. Tell me, have you heard this story? Knockin' Pond. Behind my childhood home, deep within the thick trees and overgrown foliage that protected my neighborhood from the sounds of the city, was a large pond that my friends and I would play in when the weather was warm and school was out. That pond was the setting for most of my fond childhood memories. Late nights spent telling ghost stories beneath the protection of the trees, early mornings with homemade fishing lines in one hand and a PB&J in the other, and everything in between. The pond was called Knockin' Pond. Officially on maps and stuff, the pond didn't actually exist, so the name must have been invented by some of the kids years before we found it, but it was what it was. We tried to change the name on a few occasions, even came up with a mock council of neighborhood kids to give it another name, but nothing ever stuck. In our hearts and in our minds, it would always be Knockin' Pond. Going up to the pond for the first time was a rite of passage for the younger kids, just as I was introduced to the pond by the older kids in the neighborhood. When the time was right, I showed it to my little brother. He knew about it and had asked to go several times before I thought the time was right. But it wasn't until his 7th birthday when I finally decided it was time. We hiked up the half-mile or so to the pond on the hot July weather. I'd never thought about it, how far it was for his little legs to carry, but when we got to the clearing where the pond was finally visible, his face glistened with sweat and his chest heaved to catch his breath. He didn't say a word to me, but being tired though, not once, and I immediately respected him for that. Now, there are 3 rules, I told him. Don't go in the water without telling anyone. Don't drink any of the water, and do not look at your own reflection in the water. The last one I had to admit was silly, but they were the laws of the land. Just like the name, nobody knew who came up with the rules, but it was what it was, and none of us thought to change them. It was just as natural as the pond itself to follow the rules. I brought up a fishing pole I brought earlier that summer, and I had given my brother the one I made with a large stick and fishing line. We sat on the thick bank, eating in the sandwiches we'd packed and hoping to catch something. So nobody ever caught anything, but every once in a while there was a nibble on the lines. The first kid to catch a fish in the pond would be a legend, and naturally we all wanted that immortality. My brother asked to go into the water, and I nodded. He put his pole down and kicked off his sandals and began to wade into the cool water. He splashed around a little bit, mostly just stood there in the water up to his knees, looking out in the majesty of the prescient pond. I understood because I often did the same. I saw the little flutter of the surface of the water. Once the fish which resided in the pond had reached, and my brother turned around to look at me with excitement in his eyes. I told you they were here. I told you they were there. I called to him. You just had to you really just have to be patient. Eventually you'll catch one. He waded deep into the water, just past his thighs now, and stood still with his eyes fixed on the surface of the water, where we'd seen the fish. We saw another flutter closer this time, and saw his back arched in anticipation. I knew what he was going to try. He was going to try to catch his fish with his bare hands. At one point or another, we'd all tried it. I watched as his eyes followed the fish below the surface of the water, and he traced its path to its knees. He stared at the water right in front of him, and I was about to just call out a warning to avoid his reflection when, to my horror, I saw a hand, gray and thin, reach out from the surface of the water, grab him by the back of the neck. Oh, okay. I screamed and he screamed, but his was cut off as soon as the hand drug him into the water. I stood up and launched myself into the water. He'd only been 10 feet away, but every foot felt like it took an hour. When I was there, where he'd been standing, I stuck my face under the surface and opened my eyes. I could see a few feet before. I could only see a few feet away, for the sunlight failed to illuminate deeper water. But I was sure that I'd just seen movement. I took a few steps forward, then dove into the deeper part of the pond. Far as I was aware, nobody had ever found out how deep the pond actually went. But god damn it, I would find out today if I had to. I followed the direction of the movement, plunging myself further and further into the darkness. My eyes adjusted and began to make out faint shapes. In the distance, I found him. He was drifting downward. The bubbles he'd been making as he screamed had stopped by now, and I had only a few precious moments before he would be forever lodged into the endless of my memories as the worst day of my life. My chest burned and my lungs begged for oxygen, but I kicked my legs further down into the water, which got noticeably cooler as I went deeper. I kicked my legs as hard as I could, but all fell faster than I could swim. But he fell faster than I could swim. That didn't even seem possible until I saw something that forced the air in my lungs in the form of a scream. He wasn't drifting down, he was being dragged down. And the hand which I had grabbed him was attached to a creature that would forever haunt my nightmares. It was thin and gray. I could just barely make out thin but long strands of hair coming from the top of its scalp, swirling around its head like black ink in water. The creature turned for a moment at the sound of my own scream, and just for a second I saw its face, thin and bony, with a slit on its nose, long sharp teeth protruding from its lower jaw. I turned back and swam even faster, pulling my brother. Swam even faster, pulling my brother deeper, and I knew that he was gone. I nearly drowned trying to save my brother. I kicked hard, but couldn't get back to the surface before my body took control. I sucked in a lungful of water. The liquid was cold. It felt like fire in my chest and began to cough and seize. As I broke the surface of the pond, I knew it was the last time I would see this. I knew it was the last time I'd see the sun. As my luck would have it, however, the other neighborhood kids had made it to the hike up the lake and saw my body break the surface. The older ones dragged me to the shore, and two of the younger ones ran home to call an ambulance. I owe them my life. I told them the story and was diagnosed with shock-induced psychosis. The pond was searched for, but my brother's body was never found. However, it was discovered that the pond was fed by an underground river connecting a small number of bodies of water throughout the city. So it was entirely possible that his remains would turn up to one of the neighboring lakes or ponds. It never did. Huh? Excuse me? What's up? It's a good thing I don't have no speaker and I lower your damn voice, so they knew you would say some dumb stuff like that. Yeah. Because it's you. Yeah, the moment I saw Cookie was calling my phone number, the moment I saw that number, no, I didn't turn off my phone. It's not number two. Not my dad, but I got it. I thought I didn't turn off the whole way back to my car. I'm stupid. So you called me in the middle of my stream to call me Snotty? Yes, I'm streaming horror stories. Yeah. I got to know a bunch of authors, which is great. One of them, boom, the one, the one that I know which one you're talking about. I know which one you're talking about. Uh, but I'm trying to mentally prepare myself to read their stories. It's like, dude, it's a lot. My reading level wasn't great. I'm struggling upon words. So 600 pages is a lot. Yes, it's going great. So you just want to call me just to call me Sona? Very well then. Likewise with you, I suppose. Alright, alright. See ya. Very well. Okay. Sorry, my friend contacted me. Oh, what's this? Oh, that's interesting. Hmm. Let's see. Okay. On to the next one. Knockin' Parn. Or Knockin' Pond. I don't know why I keep saying Parn. I don't know why I keep adding an R to things. That's a good one. I liked it. Knockin' Pond. Good. I do hope one of the new rules is, yeah, just don't go in the water. Like, entirely. It feels like a good rule to have. Just don't touch the water at all. Screw the whole not looking at your reflection, because that's damn near impossible to do. Okay. Okay. Posted on r/scary stories still by Dover Hawk. Posted 7 years ago. Short scary stories. Have you heard this story? Just the house settling. You lie awake at night, staring up at your desk, at your dark ceiling, making shapes out of the textures in the paint. As you are staring up at the sky full of clouds and you hear it, it's a faint knock on the wall. Probably one of the support beam studs, and you tell yourself it's just the house settling. You don't think about it, where the phrase came from. Why would you? It's easier to allow yourself to believe the idea that your house was creaking in its old age under its own weight. It's easier to believe that your house, the one which was specifically designed to hold up far more weight than what it does, is just settling under the pressure. So you don't ask yourself the question, you don't think about who told you your parents that the house was just settling, nor who told them, and so on. You don't consider whatsoever the possibility that perhaps the meaning it's no longer what it was meant to say. Like a game of telephone, the phrase has been convoluted. You don't know, at least not yet. It's not that the house is settling, but it's the house settlers. As you lie in the dark, you hear it again, but this time it's in another place of the house. Just the house settling. Again, you tell yourself, instead of thinking, now there are two. You've woken up from your sleep to find bruises on your legs, but you don't ask the question. It's easier not to. You tell yourself that probably ran into the table, got hit by something, and you forgot about it, or even though you remember being struck by anything hard enough to cause a bruise. You don't think it's just the house settlers. You hear your door creak open. You hear the padding sounds of feet walk in. It's just a dog, you tell yourself. You don't even think about it for a second. You don't think about seeing your dog fast asleep in your bed in his bed in the corner of your room an hour ago. You don't think about the click and the claws of the hardwood floor seem smaller, thinner than those of your German Shepherd. You don't think about any of this until you hear the shallow breathing coming from your nightstand, and you turn your head to see rows of crooked teeth glinting back at you from the moonlight from the window. It's only then, in some primal level in your mind, that you'd spent your whole life learning how to suppress, that you know the truth. You've always known the truth. It's not the house settling. That is a short one. That's a good one. That's a very good one. Uh, oh, oh, that's great. Yeah, right, I'm looking on the post. Welcome to Iris is a finalist in the Creepypasta Unfriended competition. Thank you all for the support. That's amazing. Oh, that from the previous homeowner narration. Oh, it posts the stories. Oh, I probably should actually make dedicated videos to each one of these, shouldn't I? How long is the actual video? Hold on, I'm gonna quickly mute my sound. Sorry, we're getting sidetracked. Quickly mute my actual sound so it doesn't like blare. It's an hour long? What? What? Oh, I should be doing this. Oh, it's so cool. Oh, that's Clancy pasta. That's magnificent. On videos. The most popular one. We'll quickly look. The most popular one is the letter from the previous homeowner. Oh, that's amazing! Oh, that's great. Oh, I should probably do things like this. I'm not good at editing, that's the thing. Oh, fancy pasta. I'm gonna quickly just subscribe to you. Oh, it's just a static image. Oh, I think I can do. Oh no, the image changed. Oh no, it zooms in on the house. Oh, I think I can do that. Just find a picture. Just find an image on repeat. Do they state where they get the picture? Could pasta, a letter from the previous homeowner by Dover Hawk. Submit your stories. Like, you have a whole subreddit. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, they do their homework too. Uh, music by Yuji. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. Kevin. Okay. That's amazing. What's Creative Commons? I needed to understand the legal, things of things. Notice this is an older version of this license compared to the previous versions. 4.0 versions, all CC license are more user friendly and more internationally robust. If you're licensing your own work, stronger recommend that you use the 4.0 license instead. The attribution of 4.0. You are free to share, copy, or distribute material in any medium or format for any purpose, even commercially. Oh, adapt, remix, transform, and build upon the material for any purpose, even commercially. The user license cannot revoke these freedoms as long as you follow the license terms. Under the following terms, attribution. You must give appropriate credit provided to a link to the license and indicate if changes were made. You may do so in any reasonable manner, but not in any way that suggests the license endorses you or your use. No additional restrictions. You may not apply legal terms or technological measures that legally restrict others from doing anything the license permits. No, you do not have to completely comply with the license for elements and materials in the public domain or whether you use permitted by the applicable expectations and limitations. Okay, no warrants are given. License may not. Okay, so interesting. That's so interesting. Sorry, that caught my attention. Very fascinating. Though I don't have an editing software. I think that'd be a lot easier for doing these videos, so that way I can do these things and just post them instead of streaming them, where you guys can hear me stumble over words. But I feel like you guys like it at the exact same time. Then again, if I did do that, that means we wouldn't have talks like this. Which I like these talks. Being able to talk to you people. Not you people, but you guys. And gals, and everything in between. I don't know how to word that without not sounding fully inclusive. I'm sorry. Anyways. Ow. That stung. My hand was wet, so when I clapped it stung. That's so fascinating. That's so cool. I feel like I could probably do that fairly easily. I'll need to get an editing software to see, and then find some unlocked images. Because the thing is, looking at that post, sorry, we're still getting sidetracked. Because I'm fascinated by that. I didn't think just. I thought I'd have to do like so much more extra stuff, like oh, flashing lights, flashing colors, visual descriptions, like pictures of it. But no, just that one thing, that one video gave me a boost in confidence. Maybe call it the mountains, or maybe I wouldn't say cockiness. That doesn't seem like the right word. Confidence seems like the correct word, but I thought I'd have to do more things. You know what I mean? Like I have to put more effort into it. But let me quickly look at the most recent video. You guys can't say it because I'm on the computer, and I'd love to react to one of these. Ah, even now it's just a zoomed in picture that just edits out. Fascinating. Oh, that's great. Probably should do that. Oh, and I need to get an editing software. We're going to take a quick detour. Not really purchase anything. It's a good free editing software for PC. CapCut. Fillmore, Wondershare. CapCut. Run an AI picture on their thumbnail. Please say it's not. Maybe it's just like a very cool picture. It's a fairy. What is that? It looks AI. God, AI has gotten to the point where I can't tell what's real. When's my birthday? 2003. I don't feel bad saying my birthday out loud. You guys already know. You guys even saying it. You guys even know my actual name already. So you guys already know. Or you stars. My apologies. It is an AI. Speedrun 4.0 AI amateur. Oh, no, I'm already not on a good mark with you guys. Okay. The AI tool is their hot thing. Turn text into video and choose a visual style. AI voice generator, long videos to short. What the hell, man? Flexible editing for generated images. I was looking for editing software, like for recording, not AI. That CapCut was, editing for recording videos, not AI. No more. Let's see. What do you like? The best video editor. That's what I'm talking about. Transform your videos into a piece of art with simple drag and drop interface and powerful editing tools. Okay. Start creating in a simple way. Easy to really. Okay. It's cool. Oh, you can even adjust different sounds, color. Oh, there's different filters for it too. And I mean, make professional videos in a smart way with AI, smart cut, audio stretch, audio to noise. It's just like removing things. Okay. Yeah, video stretch. Now one just fills in the gaps, I suppose. Okay, at least this one isn't fully promoting all their AI software. So it's like, hey, these are tools that could work. So if you don't know how to edit. Okay, I like that. I'll download that off stream. I'm so I find the idea of being able to read these stories fascinating to me. And I do like the idea of making a subreddit to be able to have things submitted to me. I like the idea of that. Because as much as because I do have it in my Discord, the story request. But yeah, it's a bit strange. I like this. I'll download that later, and we'll see what it's like. I'll read a bunch of stories. Hopefully, you don't have to deal with my stuttering or my issues with things. So hopefully that's great. Speaking of, I need to edit the last stream. I accidentally left that stream going for like an extra hour after my brother called me. And it was until I wandered back into my room while still talking to him. I noticed, I was like, oh, I'm still live. Oh, let me go cut that before I had people waiting, and I feel bad. Okay. Let's see. There we go. We have 10 minutes left. I don't know if I can find a short story for a couple of short stories. You know what? I keep finding short stories, like short scary stories, and I might post those if I can get the permission for them. rules. Okay, is there narration rules, like narrative rules? We're picking. We're gonna. I don't think I can read a story in 10 minutes unless it's like short stories. But I like short, scary stories. I like this Reddit or this subreddit. It looks interesting. Like some of the stories my husband did worse. What my husband did was worse than Cheat. I remember another life. Not like this. Loop 12. My husband had discovered something awful. I want to be able to learn as many ways of writing scary stories because one, I want to get scared. I want to get scared. So far, the only things that have scared me are like the things that happened to me in real life, like the blackout, my dog barking randomly. Like those things have scared me, not the stories themselves. So I want to be able to see as many horror themed media to be able to scare myself. And I don't want to watch like videos because that feels like cheating because a jump scare it will count. So stories must be less than 500 words and two or more sentences. Standalone stories only. Oh, really? Wait, what? No multi-part stories, no sequels, prequels, and okay. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Oh, stories containing rape, sexual assault, uh, PDF, zoo, torture, necro, and gore will be automatically removed. Okay, that's good to know. I don't have to worry about reading anything with that. No tags in the titles. Tags are reserved for contestants or challenges and short, scary story post. Disguise posts as a post for the other subreddits. Okay. Non-story text. Just post the story. That's all we want. We don't need no commentary about it being your first story. What inspired you? Disclaimers telling the audience at the end of the true story. At the end that this is a true story. The end. At the end, repeating the title, the author's name, anything. Supplement can be posted. Okay. Title must be 6 words or less. Really, there's a thing. Okay. Promotion links in the comment section. Okay. 24-hour rule. Authors must wait 24 hours between submissions. Okay. Obnoxious commentary. This includes, but is not limited to, bigotry, hate speech, personal insults, exceptionally low quality feedback, antagonist behavior, user slur. Okay. So there's not an actual rule for narrations. I wonder if I can send it a mod mail asking about, hey, I'm a upcoming short narrator and I'd like to be able to read this. There's a full rules of wiki page. Okay, we're gonna quickly check this out. No plagiarism, monetarism, modernism. The trend is common on creative writing subreddits. It is an effort to curb these trends from taking over the subreddit. We're implementing the moratorium. This is the temporary 3-month ban on certain trends which the mods have examined in their care. Still nothing about commentary or fascinating. I would like to. I'm gonna send them a mod mail because that did catch my attention. Message mods. Where to click at this time? A question about narrations. I don't want to sound like rude. Someone say hello. Very small. Very small narrator. Live streams. Reading. Theory. Stories at night. And found myself here. I did not see a rule regarding narrations, so I was wondering, would I be able to narrate stories subreddit so long as a link to the story. Oh, let's put the R in the wrong location story. So long as the link of the story was provided. And the author's credit was given. I don't expect any of them to respond, but I'd like to still know. You know? Luckily, I do have permission from Dover Hawk to read their stories. So, I will be reading. I do have time, I believe, to read their short story. The story does make as a limit to about how long a story can be. So, uh, okay. I lost the story. Here we are. Sorry, I had to like scramble a bit. There we go. Tell me, have you heard this story? It was from Short Scary Stories 7 years ago. Thanksgiving Day by Dover Hawk. Every Thanksgiving, while my mother gets dinner prepared, I play games with my cousins. We usually play football or tag outside while my mom and while the other grown-ups are getting everything set up. But this year it was too cold, so we had to play out inside. I don't like playing inside on Thanksgiving because was crowded and all the grown-ups are busy watching the football game or hurrying around to get dinner ready. We tried to play tag, but after Marcy almost broke my mom's favorite vase, we decided to play something quieter: hide and seek. I counted to 10 while everyone else went to hide. I found Marcy in the basement, Thomas in the closet, and Lacey under the table. The only person left was to find was Aiden, my little brother. We searched high and low and couldn't find him anywhere. We even started asking the adults and calling his name to tell him he won, that we didn't want to play anymore. The scent of the turkey and the stuffing and mashed potatoes was wafting through the kitchen as we searched for my little brother, looking under the beds and cabinets and even outside. It wasn't until I saw the raw, uncooked turkey sitting on the counter that my horror dawned on me. In the hurry to get dinner ready, nobody had seen him crawl into the oven, nor heard his screams after it was set to preheat. Oh! Okay. That took a... Oh, yeah, you know what? Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, that'll do it to you. Yeah, that'll do it. We have another one of short scary stories. No. We don't have another short scary story. Ah, we do. Tell me, have you heard this story? Short scary stories posted 4 years ago. Screaming. As my grandmother neared the end of her life, I did everything I could to spend as much time with her as possible. We'd always been close, and she'd approached death's door. She had told me several times how great it was that so many of her last moments were spent with me. I put on a brave face with her while I was there, but the truth was that I agonized over her passing every moment. I didn't spend with her. The thought of losing the woman who raised me was ever present, especially at night. As the days became weeks, sleep became harder and harder. Nightmares plagued my sleep. I woke up several times a night in a cold sweat. Uh, I Nightmares plagued my sleep. I woke up several times a night in a cold sweat. All I could ever remember about the dreams was the screaming. It was intense and violent and grew louder until I thought my ears would bleed. It was then that I'd finally waken up. My grandmother's final night, she looked haggard and exhausted. The shadow of the woman's sheen was even the week before. I I can't wait for this to be over, she whispered softly. Your grandfather was right. Right about what? I asked. The worst part about death isn't the dying. It's the screaming that wakes you up at night. He said it got louder as he got closer to death, and honey, let me tell you, that screaming was so loud in my dreams the past few nights, I thought my ears were going to bleed. Oh, oh. Kids perishing as well. I see. Very well. Very well then. That's all the time we have. Thank you all for some by. It means the time that it means greatly that you did, and we can hopefully talk more. As for now, I'll get going. Hopefully you guys are able to sleep. I know I will. And I'll see you all again. Very best to make the world just a tiny bit better if you can. Until we meet again. Bye-bye. Please be safe. Please.